After my brother was killed, for years I worked against peace. I was very active in mobilization. I was very active in throwing stones. I was very active in writing. And when I was 18, I decided that I needed to learn Hebrew, even though it was mandatory in my high school and I didn't do it. And when I went to learn Hebrew was the first time I sit in a classroom. Everybody around me is Jewish, but we're not soldiers, we're not settlers. And that interaction was so different. And we started over really weird things, have nothing to do with conflict. We started our conversations about music, the fact that I love country music, which is really strange for Palestinians. And I found a couple of people who did. We talked about coffee and which coffee is better, instant coffee or Arabic coffee. But it was from there that the whole demonization of the other was so hard to follow anymore, because we got to see a human being. And next time there was a suicide bombing in Jerusalem, I didn't think of the enemy and suicide bombing against the enemy. I thought of my friends. And I picked up the phone and I started calling to make sure none of them are hurt. Next time there was a problem in East Jerusalem and somebody was shot, all these people in my Hebrew class started calling me and wanting to make sure that I'm fine. And that interaction, that reality, made me come to a point of understanding that we have to bring down those walls that separate us. And if we know each other a little better as humans, we might be able to also love each other instead of kill each other. My greatest hardship is getting over my anger and getting over my understanding of what is justice. I, for many years, thought justice and revenge were the same thing. And it took me years to overcome the anger of having my brother being killed in Jerusalem by Israeli soldiers and being able to come to the point of reconciling and getting to know the other side and work for peace. That was one of the hardest challenges. But ironically, it doesn't end in one point. Most people want to believe that change happened in 1 minute, and that's not true. The change that happened with me was a process, and this greatest challenge still continues with me today. Waking up every morning, reading the news, getting angry, and then deciding which path I want to take. Every day when I read about, and it happens quite a bit, I read about somebody being killed in prison from torture. It brings to me the memories of my brother being killed in prison through torture. And I have to again decide that this is not the path I want to take. It's a daily decision, it's a daily fight. After becoming a person who wants to work for peace, I would go to schools and talk to students. And one time I went to an Israeli school and talked to a student who was very angry. His uncle was killed by a Palestinian suicide bomber, and all he wanted is a revenge. And he told me, all I want is to go to the army and kill as many Palestinians as possible. And I looked at him and I said, I totally understand. I had the same pain. I understand where the anger comes from. I understand that motivation of wanting to revenge, of wanting justice and thinking that revenge is justice. I can totally identify. And you know what, take a moment and tell me how you feel. Yell at me. It's fine to yell, it's fine to be angry. But then you still have the ability to make a difference. If you go and kill somebody else, their relative is gonna come and kill somebody else from your side. And we're gonna go into this cycle of killing. And then your neighbor might end up having to suffer because of your action. Is it really worth it? Is killing somebody else gonna make you feel better? Trust me, it will not. I've gone through this path of revenge. Hurting other people never makes you better. It makes you angrier, it makes you more bitter, and it makes you more empty. Try to think a little differently. Try to reach out. And know what's amazing is it was a long conversation, and a couple hours later, he looked at me and he said, I don't know if I can hold a gun anymore. I don't know if I want to even go to the army anymore. And to watch that happening, to me, if nothing else I've done in my life and saving that one person from becoming a murderer, it's worth everything I've done.